Hello, welcome to class. I'm Timmy. I'm your fashion tutor at TCG Fashions. Today I'll be showing you how to take accurate body measurement for your freehand clothing. It's simple and I'll make it very quick so you can rewind as many times as possible to watch over and over again. So when you are measuring a body, there are two types of measurements, the circumference and the length measurement. The circumference when you are measuring around a particular part on an object, and the length is divided into two. We have the vertical length and the horizontal length. Vertical length is where you are measuring from up down, vertical manner. Horizontal is from right to left, sideways measurement. So everything is explained and detailed. So when you are taking your circumference measurement, we'll have the bust, the waist, the hip. Those are the three full major circumference, under bust also, nevertheless. But you start by taking your shoulder measurement. I will need to turn my client to the back. I will need to turn her, facing the wall, rather. Shoulder measurement is taken from one shoulder bone to the other shoulder bone, taking your tape above the nape of the neck. Okay, so this is called the nape of the neck. There's a bone here, it's called the nape. How will you know the shoulder bone? If your client raises a hand up, you can see where the arm joins the body. That bone, this one is accurate. There are some, the t-shirt she's wearing, the shoulder joining is not accurate. This one falls downward. So you can't really use what the client is wearing as a yardstick. Just know what you want to measure. The shoulder bone is just right here. You can feel it. So you take your tape, and we are measuring in inches. Don't forget, and pass it above the nape to the other shoulder. Then you record. Okay, so I'll turn out to the front again. Then you need to take the length measurement. When you are taking length measurement, you start from the neck point. Where is neck point? Neck point is that part after your neckline, after the neck shape, the next part on the shoulder. That is, the upper part of the shoulder. That's the neck point. Better put. So that's where your length measurement will start from. Mine is here. Can you see? So if I want to measure any length measurements, I will start from here. So I will put my tape here, and I will advise you to take all your length measurements at once. That way, there won't be variation of, maybe I put my tape here the first time, I shifted it the second time. So that way you have better accuracy. Let's move backward a little. So, what are the length measurements? The vertical length measurement that you will need. You will need the shoulder to nipple. That is the neck point to the nipple. How will you know? Just put your tape along the bust this way. You can tell our one is 11.5. Then shoulder to under bust. Where is your under bust? Where your brow wire sits, under of your bust. So you put it this way. Then shoulder to the waist. Waistline, you can use 2 inches above the navel as a guide, or if your client bends sideways, the part that folds inward naturally when the person bends, that's the natural waistline. So you take the measurements. In our own case, I can see it's 17. So you take the under bust, the shoulder to waist, then you also take shoulder to hip. How would you know where the hip is? You can look at the widest part of the hip, just looking behind you can see. Then you just use your eyes to trace it forward. Then you put your tape to reach that part. It is not like you now take the tape to the back. No. You measure your neck point to the hip using eyes to gauge the biggest circumference of the hip. Then you measure forward. Okay, so if I'm measuring for blouse, I can also take the blouse length measurement like so. Just take your blouse measurement like so. And if you're measuring for a dress, just take it down to whatever length of the dress you want. Either short dress, knee level dress, or below the knee. So whatever the length you want, you just take it like so. And that's majorly about the length when it has to do with starting from the neck point. So then you take the circumference of every other part that is needed. The first one is the bust circumference. You take your tape around the bust like so. Measure it smartly. Okay? And you ensure that the tape does not sag at the back. Let me show you what it means for the tape to sag at the back. When the tape sags at the back, that means the tape is coming down. That means the tape is like this. If the tape is like this is wrong. The tape has to be parallel to what you are measuring. It has to be on the same level with the front. The commonest error is for the tape to go downward. It's not really possible the tape goes upward. It's either it folds or it goes downward. So you allow it to lay flat like so. No folding, no sagging. So that's that. Then you measure the waist circumference. Like I explained during the length part, the part that the body naturally folds sideways, that's the waist. So you measure the waist circumference like so. Are we together? Don't make it too tight and don't make it too loose. So far one finger can enter the tape, it's okay. Don't make it too loose. If it's too loose, you are not like the fit. Then under bust circumference, where the length stops, the summary of the whole matter is wherever the vertical length stops, you take the circumference of that area. You understand when you start cutting and sewing proper. So the circumference of the under bust, you take it like so. Then the hip circumference, you go to the widest part of the hip. My client might need to turn so that you guys can see. This is the widest part of the hip. I can see it. It is obvious. So you don't measure lower, you don't measure upper. Just take your tape around where the hip is widest. The hip is biggest at that part. Then take your tape, your measurement. You don't have to drag it up and down. There's no point for that. Just take it round on the actual part and leave it as it is. So that's for the hip circumference. If you are making, you need your nipple to nipple. You will need that for your dart construction and for other things. So just put your tape on one nipple to the other. While measuring these, you have to be very careful so that you don't touch your client unnecessarily. So measure your nipple to nipple this way. Then I teach my students how to measure neck depth. You can measure your neck depth. How? Just put your tape at the neck point, then drag it towards the center of your chest. So if you want your neck to be like this, to be this deep, that means this is 8. If you want your neck to be this deep, this is 9. If you want it moderate, this is 7. Don't worry, you understand when we start cutting, but this is how to measure your neck depth. Start from the neck point, then drag it towards the center of your chest. Okay, so after that is said, I think the next thing to measure for the upper part is the sleeves. Sleeves, very easy to measure. All you will need to know is the length of the sleeve. We have long sleeve, we have short sleeve, this is a short sleeve. We have cap sleeve. Cap sleeve are very small. We call this part the cap, the height, the cap height, There's something called cap. Just a little, like between 3 and 4 inches after your shoulder line, so that's cap. We have 3/4. 3/4 is below your elbow. We have elbow length. We can have, it depends on your style and the design you're doing, but the measurement is simple. Just take from the joint of the shoulder, where your shoulder measurement stops initially, where your shoulder bone joins to the neck, this part, where this arm joins to the body. You will measure this way and you will take all the length. If I want a short sleeve, I will take 7.5 as a length. If I want elbow length sleeve, I will take 12 inches. If I want long sleeve, I will take 22.5. But I normally advise my students to take their long sleeve passing through this hollow part of the elbow. Reason being that when the person folds the hand, I don't want the sleeve to jump. This is like 22, that's like ½ inch extra. But if I measure it straight like this, I have 21.5. When the person folds the hand, the sleeve jumps backward. But at the same time, you don't have to take it to the back of the elbow. Just this side, where there is bend, everybody has it. This bent part, just take it along that part when you're measuring your long sleeve. So whatever you're measuring, this is how to take the length. Then whatever length you measure, you take the circumference. So if I want a short sleeve, where the short sleeve length ends, I will take the circumference around that part. If I want an elbow length, where the elbow is, I will take circumference around that part. But there's a control to taking elbow circumference. Your client should bend the hand this way. Then you take it firmly. After the hand is bent, you take circumference firmly. Why are we doing this? There's no point wearing outfits that you can't bend your hand over. There are some designs that if you don't take the elbow length this way, when the clients bend the hand, it will be so choking, so uncomfortable. Garment construction should be first about comfort, even before style. But the world is the way it is. But nevertheless, if you are saying for yourself, you have the liberty to give yourself freedom. So you can bend your hand this way to measure the elbow. So if I want 3/4, the length stops here. I take circumference this way. If I want a long sleeve, I will not take the wrist circumference. Reason being that wrists are smaller than this widest part of the palm. If I measure this part, it will be wider than my wrist. So if I make the wrist to be if I measure the wrist, that means my hand will never enter the sleeves. So we normally use this part. This part, you fold it this way, then you measure around this widest part, but you measure it firmly. If you don't want the sleeve to be too wide at the wrist, so you open it up and you measure. In our own case, I can use 8.75 for her. But if I measure the wrist is giving me 7. Can you see? So if I use 7 to construct the sleeve, she won't be able to wear it except the fabric is stretchy. So we use here to measure the wrist for the sleeves. Okay, then what other thing do we need to measure? I think skirts. For the skirts, you will determine where the client puts the skirt band. Some put it on the navel, some put it at the lower waist, some put it above the navel. Wherever the client put the skirt becomes your starting point for the vertical length measurement. This is what I'm saying. Let me use another thing to tie. My client puts her own skirt here. So that means all my vertical length measurements will start from here. If I do anything otherwise, the fit will not be what the person wants. So I will just go to the side. Here, I will ensure that this is where the length starts. Please, you can take your hand up a little more. I'm so sorry for the discomfort. So from this determined waist, I will take all my length measurements. The first vertical length measurement you will take is the waist to the hip. How do you get that? You will use your eye to gauge the widest part of the hip, then you trace to the side, then you measure. Our own is 10. See, there are some textbooks that give us guidelines 7 to 9. But like I always say, it doesn't follow for everybody. Shapes and sizes differ. And with that, you need to take measurements so you can have accurate figures to work with. So our own waist to hip is 7. I'll measure our waist to knee.